So hello from Green-Mopeds in London. So today we're going to continue with our on-off-road bike reviews, and today we've got the Talaria X3 Road Legal, which is a new model from them, and we haven't talked too much about the Sting R, so we've got that. This is the off-road version, and more from a size perspective than anything else, we've still got the Ultra B. Won't talk too much about that, but just to give you some sort of comparison in how big these bikes are or not. So we'll do what we normally do, go around the bikes, give you some information about them, and hopefully that will help you make an informed decision. So let's get to it. So a little bit more about Talaria. So Talaria have been around for about 18 months, I would say, now. They came out from a bunch of ex-Surron people who left to form Talaria. The first bike was the Sting. It made some improvements over the standard Surron Night B, in as much as they gave a bigger rear swing arm and therefore a bigger rear wheel. They also moved away from this two-stage transmission that I've talked about, with the pulley gone for single stage, which makes it more reliable, more efficient in terms of its use. But the standard Sting was, in a power and performance perspective, pretty much the same. It is a 45-mile-an-hour bike, it's 6 kilowatts max, it weighs about the same as a Surron, currently cheaper, which is possibly one argument for taking it, but essentially the same bike. But then they brought out this one this year, the Sting R. So this has gone from now 6 kilowatts to 8 kilowatts, and also increased the speed to 53 miles an hour. Also a bigger battery of 45 amp hours to help with the range on a more powerful motor. Okay, so the Sting R is a very popular bike right now. In fact, all the ones that we have are sold. Okay, but now they've also brought out this one, the X3. So this was shown off at EICMA last year in November, and this is more of an entry-level bike. You could sort of compare it to the Surron Youth, I suppose, other than the fact that it has a fixed battery. Okay, so fixed batteries, you either love them or hate them. You might live somewhere where you cannot have a bike charged in a garage, so you need to be able to bring the bike in, or the battery at least. It's not to say that this battery isn't removable, but it's not removable for charging purposes. So this is essentially your battery here. Reminds me a little bit about a e-bike battery that goes into the frame. You can actually get it out if you dropped the swing arm, took out the shock, and it would slide out the bottom, but it's not an everyday change, you know, or everyday removable. Okay, as you can see, it is quite a diminutive bike. It's running on 17-inch wheels, which is the first thing. You can put 19-inch wheels on this. The Speedo, the dash, does allow for 19-inch wheels to be put on it, and then you recalibrate the Speedo. Okay, and I'll show you a little bit about that in a minute. Okay, but as you can see, it's only 58 kilos, quite small. Would be good as a first bike for like a 16-year-old, because this is, out of the box, 28 miles an hour, an L1E bike. Okay, so you could ride this on 16, you could then redo your test at 17, turn this into a 45-mile-an-hour bike, and then carry on using it. So from that perspective, it is quite a good entry-level bike. Okay, so just going around the front, as you see, it's got more slick road tyres compared to the other two on their 19-inch wheels. As it's road legal, this is a road legal light. You've got your mirrors, indicators, etc. But all in all, a pretty small package. 58 kilos is pretty light. Okay, so going around it a bit more. One thing that we've talked about before is, as I said at the beginning, is how Talaria removed the pulley system. So as you can see on Surrons, it's like a standard feature. There's the pulley there, then there's transmission across to the final drive of the chain. The standard Sting and the Sting R don't have a pulley. The motor is directly driving the chain. Okay, so more efficient, less liable to break, less moving parts. So having said all that, what Talaria have now done is actually introduced a pulley. So as you can see here, you've got your pulley, the motor, pulley, chain, back to the final drive. Okay, so I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying it's less efficient than without. Okay, this motor is 2.5 kilowatts nominal and 5 kilowatts max. Okay, so as I said, the standard Sting is 6 kilowatt max, the Sting R is 8 kilowatts max, and then you've got the Ultra Bs, which are 12, etc., etc. Okay, so looking at the dash, So this is a colour screen, as you can see, and one of the first things to notice is actually you're now into keyless start. So you do actually have a fob, NFC, so that button enables the fob, and then the dashboard lights up. Okay, so colour screen, which is one of the first to have one. It's got standard features as you'd expect, so you've got 2 modes. One of the things that you can do through this menu system, which is on the bike here, on the right hand side, is actually to configure certain things. So you've got things like the screen display, whether it's auto brightness, set the time, which you would need to do, put it into Chinese, configure the wheel size in case you put 19-inch wheels. It's got software that can be updated, etc., etc. Okay, so all of that can be done from within that menu system. Okay. Rest of it is standard stuff. So one of the things that's obviously making this road legal is that the headlight is dippable. So that is one thing that you would actually have to have on a road legal bike. And then you've got indicators, which unfortunately are still silent, and then horn, and then obviously master cylinders and things like that. Okay. So charging time is about 3.5 hours, which is pretty standard stuff from these sorts of bikes. Your colour choices are pretty much limited to this colour, which is silver, black, something like that. There probably will be decal kits and sticker kits for it, although I think it looks a little bit funky with the rim highlighted in yellow and all the other little accents to its colouring scheme. Okay, but essentially what this bike is about is lightweight, entry-level entrance into this sort of style of bike. Okay, so as I said, Surron Youth would be another bike to consider. Okay, so as I said, this bike is an L1E and 16 years old to start. One of the things that you might like to know is about the price, of course. So this bike, as it is 3,595 for the road legal version, 3,495 for the off-road version. Okay, so 3,595, if you compare it to a Sting R, the one next to it, you're talking about 4,595. Okay, so £1,000 more. Okay, 8 kilowatts versus 5, etc., etc. But still £1,000 more. If you compared it to the standard Sting, it's 3,999. Okay, so still a bit cheaper. So as I said, if you want an entry-level bike to get into this sort of thing, where it can go off-road potentially, if you buy the off-road version, a smaller bike for maybe a smaller person, a younger person, then this is something to consider. Okay, so I think I've covered everything. Yeah, I think so. So if you would like to test ride this bike or get any other information about it, then please let us know. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Green-Mopeds, and thanks very much.